And welcome into Real Deal Sports Talk with KP. It is September 6th, 2018. How is everybody doing today? I hope everybody's excited. If you're sports fans, you should be excited. Because if you're a sports fan, you know what tonight is. You know what's going on. You know what's going down. You know what channel it's on. You know what time the game starts. We got Atlanta and Philly tonight. That's the biggest thing we can talk about today. Mostly. We're going to talk about that, of course. We're going to get into this NFL statement. I'm calling Kaepernick a little bit. I went off a little bit the other day with this topic. We're going to reel it in a little bit, but talk about the NFL statement on the situation. We're going to talk about, obviously, the game tonight, who I'm taking. And then I want to get into this Steelers and Le'Veon Bell situation and what's going on there, because that situation just got worse than any of us could have imagined, in my opinion. So with the reports from Rappaport and Patra on NFL.com and the comments made by some of his teammates by different publications, we're going to kind of get into that a little bit and the shadiness, and we'll get into it towards the end of the show. I want to wrap out the show with that topic, actually. But real quick, I want to talk about Mike's Stadium Sports Cards. I've been going there for, I don't know, back 20 years ago, from his original location on Hampton and Chambers to the location he's at now over in the shopping center, the East Bay Shopping Center on Parker Road. And great place. Always has a lot of interesting stuff, gets in good cards, very knowledgeable, great to talk sports with. Highly recommend visiting his shop there on South Parker Road in Aurora. Phone number 303-699-9808. You can check him out at facebook.com/Mike Stadium Sports Cards as well. Again, if you're into sports collectibles, if you're into talking sports, if you're into autograph signings, all that good stuff, go check out Mike Stadium Sports Cards on Parker Road, South Parker Road in Aurora, Colorado. All right, let's talk about this NFL statement on Colin Kaepernick and the Nike ad a little bit. Part of the statement reads, "The National Football League believes in dialogue, understanding, and unity. We embrace the role and responsibility of everyone involved with this game to promote meaningful, positive change in our communities," said Jocelyn Moore, the NFL's Executive Vice President of Communications and Public Affairs. "The social justice issues that Colin and other professional athletes have raised deserve our attention and action." I would say, I'm calling your BS. It's a great statement. It's what you should say. It's what you should have said in 2016, in 2017, when these things started happening, when the protests started coming. You should have had, as Kenny Stills came out today and talked about, you should have had these guys back then. You should have taken your players' side then. You did not. So coming out with this statement now, after last week, you lose the judgment with the arbitrator, and this is moving forward to a trial. Of course you're going to come out with the correct thing to say at this point. You can't risk having bad press at this point. What else were they going to say? They couldn't have come out and said, if they say nothing, that looks bad. If they come out with their stance to this point, that looks bad. They're in a collusion case. So yes, I like the words. I like what the NFL is saying there. But now you need to back it up. 100% you have to back it up. If that's the stance you're going to say that you have, then there you go. Have that stance. Take it on. Own it. You're the multi-billion-dollar industry. The players make you that money. Of course you need to say that. So, I don't know what the NFL was trying to do there. They might have fooled some people. They might have some people thinking, oh, the NFL is so great with this statement. I would hope that most people realize that this statement is worded the way it is, again, because they lost the settlement last week with the arbitrator. They very carefully crafted this response. That's why it took the time it did to come out after the ad, after all of us got time to react to it. It was an intelligent move on their part. So good for them for not screwing it up. But now I'd love to see action on it. Luckily, we do have other NFL action tonight. We have the Falcons taking on the Eagles on NBC. It's going to be a great game. Remember, these two teams, two of the better teams in the NFC. Philadelphia will not have Carson Wentz this week. They will not have Michael Kendricks this week, who pled guilty today in federal court to insider trading and could serve up to 25 years in prison for it. Instantly when I saw that, I thought, well, wait a second. Martha Stewart didn't get 25 years for her insider trading. Let's let that stir the pot a little bit and take to Twitter with it. Back to the game. Eagles defense, solid. They're legit. They're going to be good again this year. Those young corners, that young secondary, the pieces they've put together, that solid front four, it's scary. They're young, they're big, they're fast, they're strong. They have depth. The defensive coordinator knows how to run that wide nine as good as anybody. He helped, establish it as the new trend. My question with the Eagles is Nick Foles. He has not looked good in the preseason. He has not looked on in the preseason. And it instantly reminded me of the season after he had 30 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, had his 7 touchdown game, and was on fire as Nick Foles is the next thing. Look at this kid out of Arizona. But what happened after that season? Nothing. He was horrible. He got his spot taken. He thought about quitting football. He came back as a backup with the Chiefs. He caught on back with Philadelphia. Then he had another magical run. And granted, it was a great run. Got you guys a Super Bowl. Got the Eagles to the trophy. Amazing. But have you seen the same magic at all? Have you seen the same timing at all? Have you seen the same, just barely missing the defender's tips? Nope. Now, that doesn't mean some people say, oh, it's the preseason. That's true. It was the preseason. But there's always indicators. And when you've only produced the way he has twice in his entire career, and the first time it looked so much worse the next season, I'm looking for that same momentum, that same Nick Foles we saw at the end of last season, that same Nick Foles we saw with St. Louis that had a 7 touchdown game. I mean, that was with Philadelphia, I think, actually. But the running game, is Ajayi going to stay healthy? I have questions with their running game now. How often are they going to mix in Clement? And are you only going to use him as a pass catcher? Are you going to tip your offense every time he's on the field and hope that you just get that mismatch? So I'm taking the Falcons tonight. I think they've gotten younger. I think Dan Quinn is finally establishing that defense a little bit, and we saw players making plays at the end of last season. You're going to have a flurry of offense from this team. You have 3 legit receivers as you add Calvin Ridley to the mix now. Julio Jones, Mohamed Sanu, Tevin Coleman, Freeman, Matt Ryan, who's a legit starting quarterback, a legit Pro Bowl, All-Pro caliber guy in the NFL. He may not be the most athletic, but he's good. He's good. He's better than Nick Foles, in my opinion. And I took Atlanta in my pick'em. I'm taking them now on the show. And if I had to predict a score, I'm thinking somewhere along the lines of Atlanta 27, Philadelphia 17, somewhere around there. Sounds good to me on that game tonight. It's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it. I hope you guys are looking forward to it because football's back. The NFL's back. The games now count. So last thing we're going to talk about today is this situation going on in Pittsburgh. Le'Veon Bell, he has not signed his franchise tender. He's not under contract. He cannot be fined for missing time right now. And he has no contract. He has no intention of reporting at this point. And he wants to get paid. He wants to know how Pittsburgh plans on using him. It's the ugly business side of it. It's not being the loyal teammate. It's not being a good football player. It's not doing it for the fans. It's the ugly business side. And when it comes to your contract and when it comes to your money, it doesn't matter your line of work. You have to fight for what you deserve based on market value, based on your production, based on what they want to get from you. And that's what Bell's doing. And ultimately, that's going to help the league because if he gets more money, that helps other running backs. If he wins this stalemate, that helps other players get their money. So it's kind of ridiculous that his teammates are coming out and acting the way they are right now. Pouncey, honestly, it's a little selfish. I'm kind of pissed right now. It sucks that he's not here. We'll move on as a team. It doesn't look like he'll be in the game plan at this point. Connor looks great. We'll worry about him in week 2. Bell, just say when you're going to show up. Even if it's week 10, why play hide and seek? Why let your agent say this? Just man up and tell us what you're going to do. I'm going to say this. Pouncey, he's a great center, but his judge of character is horrible. Like, this is the same guy who had Aaron Hernandez hats and T-shirts on. So, great center, not a good judge of character. Probably shouldn't be talking about other people's money. I seem to remember there being issues with how his contract went. I don't remember him, like Bucky Brooks brought up, saying anything when they didn't get to the team about getting their running backs deal done. But now they want to sit there and talk stuff about him. Ramon Foster. What do you do? He's a guy who doesn't give a damn. I guess so. So we'll treat it as such, Foster said. I just hate it came to this. He's making 7 times what I make, twice as much as Al is making, and we're the guys who do it for him. Tired of the antics. Are you kidding me? He also did a Where's Waldo pick of Le'Veon Bell, trying to, poke fun at the situation. And Foster's been known to do these photoshopped things of his teammates in the past as well. I'm moving around right now. I was outside, had to come inside. It's starting to rain a little bit. So you might hear some noises as I get through this, but we'll get situated here. But yeah, it used to be you didn't talk about guys' money because you wanted the best for everybody on your team. And now his offensive line are the guys who are talking, the most about him, the most about his money. DeCastro just set out the whole year then. Like, these guys, they're mad about it because they're looking at it just from a team aspect. This is the guy they've been planning on being there. This is the guy they need to have their best chance to make it to the Super Bowl, whether they believe in Connor or not. So I get it from a team aspect. These guys are upset. They want him to be there. They don't want it to be about money. They want the team to be more important to him. And we can't say the team's not important to him. But again, this is the ugly business side of the game. This is the situation we're in. Former Steeler Ike Taylor says, when I played, I couldn't wait till my teammate got paid. I felt like we all won. The rule number 1, he says, the rule number 1, never count another man's check because he wasn't counting yours. Ain't nobody make you sign those deals you thought you like. And that's true. Like, you can't get mad that somebody else makes more money than you when you chose to sign that contract. We all saw Nate Soldier get $13 million. Well, Ramon, you could be making $13 million. Like, unbelievable to me that these guys are sitting there talking about their teammates' money and putting that ahead of him. Like, if it comes to their money and all of a sudden the team isn't paying up or doing right by them, they're going to have a problem with it too. You can't get mad about it just because it's not you. And that's the thing. Like, did they speak up when it was, time to sign him to a contract? Let's get it done. We have to have him. He's so important. I hope the owners get this done. Let's get it done before training camp. You didn't hear any of that talk from these same players. And if you did, they didn't make it public. Bucky Brooks, I wonder if they speak up when the team, quotation marks, cuts a productive player as a salary cap move. Better yet, I wonder how their team, quotation marks, allegiance will end up with the Grim Reaper eventually calls them to the office. And see, their chemistry's gone. This offensive line doesn't like the running back. He's not happy with the team. So the only right thing to do at this point is to trade him. You can't keep him on the team anymore. Right now, he's scheduled to lose, via Ian Rappaport, $855,000 in game checks each week he sits out. He can't be fined because he's not under contract. He's 26, and he needs to report by 4 p.m. Eastern Saturday to get paid for Sunday's contest. Like, this is one of the better running backs in the league. He's still a younger guy. He's used a lot because he's so versatile, because he can run routes like a receiver, because he's so patient and has a unique style in the backfield. You figure out contracts for players like this. This is what Oakland just screwed up. This is what they are screwing up now. Now, luckily, they're in a position they have James Conner, former University of Pittsburgh running back, solid player. The guys are behind him. He's a cancer survivor. But with all of this going on, game week, opening week, week 1, like, I'm starting to question why I took Pittsburgh to beat Cleveland, because Cleveland looked more put together in the preseason. What you hear coming out of Cleveland sounds more put together than what you're hearing out of Pittsburgh right now, than what you're hearing from former players about the coaching staff right now. Pittsburgh looks like they're in disarray. I would like to hear from Le'Veon Bell and not just his agent on this one. But until then, all we have is until next time, be real.